Talking to ourselves is something that humans do and we need to do. Whether we want to or not, it will happen. The best thing we can do is try our best at deciding what kind of conversation should be going on inside our heads. Before we can change how we speak to ourselves, the first step is becoming aware of these thoughts, which means being aware of what they are. To do this, we should train ourselves to be the observer and try not to identify with our thoughts and emotions. We need to ground ourselves with basics and traditions of our culture so we don't get distracted, especially in a time when the world is changing. Have you ever found yourself walking from A to B and not remembering what your subconscious mind did on the way? It could be driving, unable to recall how you got to your destination. When this happens, it's the complete opposite in nature to grounding. You're disconnecting from reality, not grounded in your body, you're floating up in the air. Being ungrounded can lead to a lot of consequences. Just think about what could happen if you were driving. You might have an accident, miss a stop sign, or even not see a red light. When we're fully present and grounded, we can really be in control of what's happening around us. Once we are grounded, we can then start observing what is happening in our mind. Imagine if your thoughts were a river that was flowing in front of you and you observed it while sitting by the bank of the river. For example, if you jumped in the river, you would soon find yourself fighting against currents. You can just stand and watch from your safe position, focusing all of your attention on what thoughts you want to think while still being aware of the outside world. When you are able to connect to the life around you, it's a sign that you can feel the energy flow through your body and make those important connections. Energy leaks happen occasionally, so it's good to be aware of where your energy is going. If energy is being leaked from you, it's because either you're consciously or unconsciously allowing it to happen. Now imagine that you can see a conversation going on in your mind. This conversation is going on constantly and you may be surprised with what you find. It may be that every time you see someone driving an expensive car you think, I am never going to be able to afford that. You then later see the same sentiment the next day, or at a different location. You spot two people saying how expensive it is to eat out, and you think to yourself that you can't afford it either. You're watching a movie and find yourself thinking, I'll never be able to buy that house. This is a common fluctuating pattern that is typically linked to different periods of being poor. According to Neville's teachings, our reality is like a screen that shows us our inner world. The inner world is created by the conversations we have with ourselves. That's why the person driving the expensive car, two people having dinner at the restaurant, and that movie you're watching on TV all seem so real. They are showing you your own insecurities, which have manifested in reality. If we do not like the reality we see, then there are ways to change it. Neville calls this changing our state. He says that we are immortal beings and we move through different states. If we're not in the one that we like, then it's really easy for us to change it. There's no need to wait for signs, they always come after a certain state, not before them. At times, the fuel warning light might turn on within your car. This is a sign that you need to refuel your tank. Once you do so, the light should go off again. If you were to break this light out of frustration, it would not fix the problem and keep your vehicle fuel-related lights from reappearing in a short period of time. Our state of mind is the result of things we have said to ourselves. We often want to shift that mindset by using the light around us, by breaking it apart. That doesn't work, or when it does, the effects only last for a short while. If we're living in a state of poverty, it'll probably stay that way even if our money problems are only temporary. And the difficult reality is that we will always subconsciously fall back into financial distress. Have you ever heard of people who win the lottery and quickly lose their wealth? That's because despite getting money in the exterior reality, they were not able to change their inner talk. Their inner conversations very quickly recreate a constant belief in lack of abundance. When we become aware of our inner talk, we realize that people are like mirrors and are reflecting our inner conversations. How many times do we get into arguments with the people around us without realizing they're just reflecting what's going on inside us? The fact that we can talk to them and they listen is an indication of how much we can influence the realities they are programming.